Welcome back. In this video, we're going to look at something super special and very cool. I think the first actual coding stuff that we're going to look at, obviously variables and stuff is cool, but what we're looking at now is going to be amazing. So if statements, all right? So let's look at what if statements are and what we can do with them. So if, and the general logic is if true, then execute what's in here. Okay, and then there's this thing called else, and then if not true, then execute this in here. Okay, so this is the general structure of if else statements, and they are very, very important. So you can basically say, if a certain condition is met, then execute this code. If another condition is met, then execute this code. So for example, you're a bumper in front of a really amazing club. And if somebody is under the age of 18, you cannot let them in. Or I don't know, like in the US it's probably 21 or whatever. But in Germany, it would be 18. So with 18, you can get into any club usually. And the bumper will check. So is this person 18 or higher or not? So how can we do that exact example here? So let's just test it out. So I'm going to create a variable, and a little pause here. Try to create a variable that stores the age and assign your age to it. Okay, I hope you did that. So age, and actually I said we should use vars, and you can obviously use other data types, but I'm just going to use the default of integer here and assign my age, which is 35 at the current moment. So now I'm going to say if age, and here is where the comparison comes in. So we need to understand comparison operators, and the comparison operators are greater than, equal, or less than. And then there is the greater than, equal, and less than equal. Okay, so what are these? Let's look at them one by one, and we have, let me comment them out. So greater than, then lower than, then we have greater equal, we have greater or lower equal, which is, and then we have equal. So that's this. So these are the comparison operators. So now what we can do is we can compare one variable to another variable, or we can compare a variable to a value or whatever. So the result of that comparison will always give us true or false. So that's the beauty about it. So this if statement, as I said, if true, then execute this, but if false, then execute that. And that's what we put inside of this bracket of an if statement. So we have this if keyword that says, okay, next comes an if statement. So a request if something is true or false. Now we can go ahead and say if age is greater equal 18, then execute what's in here. And what would that be? That would be a print line statement of saying you can go into the club. All right, so it's complaining here. Let's see what it says. Is always true. Well, it's always true, but that is only because we have our age up here, which is 35, and we defined it once, so that's why it just says, okay, it's always true, so it's always going to run this line of code. But it just knows that because we hard-coded the age into our program. Now, if we ask the user about their age, it will be a different story, and we're going to do that in a second. And else, we're going to print ln, you are too young to go into the club. All right, so let's say you are a teenager and you really want to get into this club, and now you're trying to get in there. So what options do you have? You can either fake your ID, not a good option, or you can like try to be as adult as possible, or you can be around people who are super adult and they just go in there and they just well, assume that you're also in their age or whatever. Some people just don't have, like, they just don't look the age that would get them into clubs. But yeah, either way, like that is something that a bumper could check, like your age. If he even checks the ID, if it doesn't, then you're good to go. So let's run this code, and as we already know, it will say you can go into the club. That's just because of the limitations of our application so far. So how can we extend that? And therefore, we can use something called user input. All right. And I'm going to go over user input in the next video, okay, where we are going to check this a little more. I just wanted to give you like the general structure of an if-else statement and showing you how that works. So see you in the next video.